It's your pal Sal back for another weekly scouting report, and this one's gonna be a doozy because we got a 2-card week at the very start of the brand new season. We have both Nocturne and Blink for you today. Let's get into it. Let's start things off with Blink, this season pass card. It is a 5/7 with an on-reveal ability to swap the last card you played with a higher cost card from your deck. Now this card is going to get a little bit spicy and we might see a bit more ramp and hella in the meta. I have no doubt that on day one we're just beginning to scratch the surface on the unique and creative uses for Blink. But time will tell. Let's take a look at Nocturne. Now this is the one that I personally am more excited for. A 3/5, you can move this once. When this moves, replace its location with a random new one. It can fit in so many different decks, and I think it allows a bit of versatility, and I really like that. I also love that the location change ability is not limited to just her own move. You can also use other move activators like Iron Fist or Ghost Spider to still enable the location change, which means you can be changing things up all over the place with Nocturne. So I like to keep things short and sweet in these videos, and I'm going to aim to still do that. Now I do have 7 decks for you. I have 3 for Blink, I have 3 for Nocturne, and I have 1 that features both of them in the same list. That way we get a nice variety of what you can use day one with both of these brand new cards. So without further ado, I've said this once and I'll say it again. Marvel Snap does not have a solidified meta pretty much ever. We just have a series of pocket metas that we cycle through, and you are about to see the pocket meta of Blink Ramp mixed in with Hela. And this is an example of that. The main combo that you're going for is either an Electro into a Blink, because you'll be able to have that extra energy on turn 4 and play Blink, send Electro back in the deck, pull out something big. It could be the Jubilee, Iron Lad, anything bigger than 3 cost. Or you're going to see the Jubilee on turn 4 into the Blink on turn 5, sending the Jubilee back for one of your 6 cost cards. This kind of a deck is going to be maybe frustrating a little bit. There's going to be a lot of big power put out. You're going to know when you've got a really good hand. The only risk that you'll probably see if you're piloting this deck yourself is the Corvus Glaive discarding the Hela, but honestly, I don't even know if you necessarily need Hela every single time with the other big numbers that you can put out just with the ramping components. There's not a ton more to say about a list like this. I think you all get the general concept of what a Hela deck does by now, and all we've done is give it one more tool to put out really big numbers. So good luck out there, everyone. So for our next variation of a similar list that is inherently different, because what we're doing here is we're cutting the discard. We're getting rid of the Corvus Glaive, we're getting rid of the Hela, any other discard components, and what Bynx cooked up is a Sandman ramp version, which that extra Sandman control can do a lot. If you played against it recently, you'll know that even though Sandman is an on-reveal now, it can still be super limiting when that on-reveal goes off. So we've got this similar combo of either the Electro into Blink, the Jubilee into Blink, a really strong package there. We've got Wave to cheat out some bigger stuff. You can again go Wave into a 6 cost, into the Blink to send the Wave back. You get the gist. These decks are all going to be about just ramping out really big numbers from your deck or from your hand and winning games? Question mark? I think they all feel really good. I've play tested a good number of these and they feel great. And you know when you need to retreat because you just whiffed hard. But overall, I think this is going to be a very interesting time in Marvel Snap. And I don't know what the counterplay is yet, but we'll figure it out one way or another. Let's move on to the next deck. Now, when I was doing my scouting, this is one of the lists that really caught my eye. Ika made this list, and he is known for being really creative with his brews. And it caught my eye for 2 different reasons. One, it's unique. It's different than the other lists that we're seeing for Blink early on. And 2, if you saw, there were some leaks of the tentative patch notes coming out on Thursday for the OTA. And in those leaks, still unconfirmed, we don't know if it's true or not, but if they are, Leech is going to be getting a rework, where Leech is now going to be a 4/2, still on reveal, same effect, all that. But what that means is you can Leech on 4, you can Blink it back into the deck on 5 and bring out something big, and that's going to be an obnoxiously good combo. But even here, what we've got is we've got the White Tiger, we've got the Ironheart, we've got all of these cards that bring out something big for us, big amounts of power, and then we send them back in the deck for something else. This one seems really fun. I don't know entirely what all of the different win conditions are with a deck like this. I would need to play test this. But from what I saw, Ika was having success and having fun, and that's the point of playing a game, right? So grab this list. I'll have all the descriptions, all the links to the deck codes down below. Give it a test run yourself and let me know if you think this one works. So as the name up here implies, this is a good stats list by YoWoodyMJ. We're using both Blink and Nocturne in this list, and we're going for the kind of move package with Angela. So we have all of these move cards that can continuously boost up the Angela and then move out of that lane to make room for more Angela procs. We've got just good stats from Black Bolt being 7 power and then enabling the stature. You have the disruption from discarding something for your opponent's hand. We have the Doom that can get played out early as a result of Hope Summers. There's just a lot of good stuff going on. You still run the Shang-Chi for some removal if you have the opportunity. You're playing against a Hela deck. They're doing their Blink combo. They're playing a Jubilee into Blink. Now all of a sudden Infinite's on the board. Well, now we can punch it. We don't have to worry so much about outpowering the numbers as much as just removing them from the board altogether. You've got Magneto for good stats, but also the disruption really can help a lot. The location control is going to be a super interesting part of this with Nocturne. I know I said in the intro I was more excited for Nocturne than for Blink, and not necessarily because I think it's going to be a better card than Blink. I think because it's going to have more widespread uses. I think it's where Blink might end up being like an S tier card for the time being, and Nocturne will be more of an A tier card. I think Nocturne might be able to see more play across the board because you can slot it into so many different things without having to build around it completely. And I really like that out of new card releases for Marvel Snap. So if a list like this is interesting to you and you're frustrated with the Hela meta and you don't want to participate yourself, this could be a really good mix for you to still have some fun, still get to play both of the new cards if you did manage to pick them up, and see if you can get some wins and get yourself to Infinite. I believe in you. So the next two lists we're going to look at are both variations of C5. We're in just the Nocturne territory of this scouting report. And I think C5 maybe just got the boost it needs to be a more legitimate and consistent deck. I don't know. It's maybe too early to say, but I really like having another tool that just so easily fits in to C5. So as you know, 5 power is still not nothing in Marvel Snap, and even if you fill up a lane with 5 power, you're still at 20 power. It's a good amount. So even if you don't have the Cerebro, you still can have really good, consistent numbers spread out across all 3 lanes, and going wide sometimes can win you even more than just going tall in 2 lanes. It depends. But I do really like the tech of Enchantress in C5. It fits perfectly, and we are seeing a bit more of the Jean Grey ongoing list. I'm sure you've ran into it by now at some point where a lane gets locked down with Ant-Man or Man-Thing and Jean Grey's there. They've got a Luke Cage, the US Agent, a big turn 6 Spectrum. You have to have seen it by now, and if you haven't, good luck. It's good. But now this deck so easily slots in a response to that. You also have the location control for when you do have those locations that screw up any kind of a Cerebro deck, the ones that are going to reduce your power or what have you. You can just get rid of them now. It's really nice. Polaris can be disruptive. Captain Marvel can win you games in the end. A wave into a Doctor Doom is just fantastic. You have the very easy way to enable the Miles Morales with the Silk just bouncing around or Nocturne moving around. It just seems good. Let's look at the second version of C5 though. Now this version of C5 by my good buddy and Power On team member Tuccrr takes a slightly different approach to the C5 list, and I like this one too. We add in a little bit of extra disruption and clog with the Titania, couple that with a Polaris, and you can really make sure that you end up with the Titania where you want it at the end of the game. You have the Lizard, but you have Luke Cage to protect Lizard, so we make sure he stays at that 2-5, and the Luke Cage can handle any of those pesky locations that can screw up the even 5 numbers across the board, so we could save the Nocturne for something else if we really needed to. I overall really like it. I think Omega Red is so good for C5. The value that he brings is through the roof. Overall though, There's not much to say about the complexity of this deck. It's going to be a case-by-case situation based off the locations and what the opponent is playing, but it's something that's just going to put out good, consistent stats. And sometimes over the long haul of Marvel Snap, we're not in it for each individual game. We're in it for the long run to make gradual climbs over time, and this might be the list that can help you do that. So if you do want to snag this or any of the other ones, again, a reminder, down in the description below. I got you. Now, to wrap up this week's scouting report, we have one final creative list from It's Guess Gaming, another one of my teammates now on Power On Gaming. More info to come. But this one here, we're taking the Jean Grey that we just talked about earlier, and we're throwing it in here for that nice disruption, that nice lockdown, and then having the tools to handle ourselves with the Vision, with the Dr. Doom, with ramping out energy earlier, with having move cards that Nightcrawler and Jeff and Nocturne that we can keep in the Jean Grey lane until we want to move things strategically. I like it. I really, really do like it. Hope Summers to cheat out the early Dr. Doom or Red Hulk so we can make sure that we're going to get both big 6 cost cards down onto the board. There's a lot of just good things going on here. I mean, the Angela, Kitty Pryde, Elsa, Hope Summers, that package we all know is really strong, really powerful, and can slot into so many different lists. This one just seems to be a good climbing list. One of those ones where anyone can just pick it up and start playing it and figure out what the play lines are and just have a good time with it. I mean, you're going to have a ton of extra energy most of the time anyways when you are able to get Hope Summers down on curve and you have Kitty Pryde or anything in hand. So if you like the style that's similar-ish to Silky Smooth, if you like Jean Grey just as a card, restricting your opponent's options, if you like being able to move your power to wherever you want it to be at the very last minute to try and win games, this could be the list for you. I said I was going to keep things short and sweet, and I think I crushed it on that front, baby. 7 lists there for the brand new cards that just came out for the new season of Marvel Snap. If y'all want to see any gameplay from these lists, I highly suggest you follow these folks down below on either their YouTube or you go check them out on Twitch where they're live streaming. Right now, we're in the middle of Twitch drops. If you didn't know, you can get some extra rewards in-game just from linking your account and watching people play Marvel Snap on Twitch. So go check out all these awesome creators. They are really such amazing parts of this incredible community, and I couldn't be more appreciative to be a part of all of it. My dog just made some noise. You know what? We're going to keep it in the tape. I'll see you on the next week's scouting report. Much love, everybody.